Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's interview. And I'm Sanya. My name is Sanya, and I'm reporting from the European Film Club for a new extraordinary discussion. Do you know what really makes the European Film Club unique? Well, the incredible thing of this project is the fact that it was co-created with a group of young people. So the European Film Club is created by young people for other young people. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Now it's time for a new interview, and so I'm going to introduce the new guest for this episode. And today we are here with Frans Bak, which is the composer of the contest of film on the platform of the European Film Club. So, hi, Frans, and
Hi,
how are
nice
you,
to meet
first of
you.
all?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm great and so grateful to be here with you.
Yeah,
And I watched the contest. It was a great film. I really enjoyed the music and the soundtrack. I love enjoying music, and I'm really close to this path. So I'm really happy to have you here today.
great.
So first of all, I wanted to break the ice. I want to ask you a question linked to your work. You are a composer, and you actually composed the music for a film that really speak and about music and the dream of music. So I wanted to ask you, how did you feel to on composing music and soundtracks for a film that actually had as main topic the music? So it was a big responsibility because there were, more attention on that
Yeah.
path. So how did you feel?
The first, I would say that I had been working together with an assistant called Keld Haaning Ibsen for many years. And when we made this film, we decided to do it together. I think it was maybe the first film we did together. So actually, because I just watched the film just before we should talk, and I noticed that we are actually two composers. I'm not the only composer. So I will have to say that my fellow assistant Keld is not only assistant, but also a fellow composer on this one. So we're two composers. I think it was very interesting to make this also because we used the music a lot to describe how the city was and how the area in Jutland was. So the two different people, we used the music a lot. But actually, I wasn't the one composing the winning song. That was a guy called Sebak, Nikolai Sebak composed that song. And I also didn't compose the last song from the credits. That was also a hit song, but all the rest music we did, Keld and I did. I think it was very interesting. It's also a new area for new genre for me, the dubstep thing, all that. I hadn't worked a lot in that area, so that was very interesting to dig into that. And Keld was very good at that. So I was good at something, and Keld was good at some other things. So it was a great experience, and I knew the director well, and I knew I could find out what he could easily grasp what he was thinking about. So it was a great experience.
Well, it's like you completed. There was a big team behind, all we can watch. And I was really interested to ask you, I think it's very difficult, matching scenes with soundtracks. It's something of really, I think it's not easy. And I really wanted to ask you because I found the soundtracks so perfectly balanced with scenes, which is a thing I really enjoyed, also for the rhythm. And I wanted to ask you, what's your secret or the secret of your team in matching, melodies, rhythms with scenes, cinematic scenes? Because I mean, it's a big work. The cinematic path and the music one work on the same path during, the creation of soundtrack, isn't it?
Yes. I mean that we work together. The cinematic about the music work together. It has to work together, otherwise it don't. The music is not something in itself. It's when you do film music, it has to be related to the film. So it's the final product that counts. That's not how the music sounds. It's if the music is able to tell the story and show which feelings. There's one scene I remember in the film where they eat some sausages. I don't even remember that, and it tastes awful, and they start laughing. We spent a lot of time on that scene because we tried to, to tell a lot in the music on that scene. When they throw the sausage and we had so many different things. But when I just saw the scene right before here, and what the music does is just a little telling what's in their minds. So the music's role is always telling what is in the people's minds instead of what they're actually doing.
It's great to see your version that is so clear. It's like you really know perfectly and objectively what you were doing, which is, I think it's really fascinating me because, musicians are always linked to the subjectivity of in this song composing. So I am really, really fascinated by this.
Okay.
And I really wanted to ask you also, what's your way of composing? Like in general life, what's your way of composing, of finding perfect sounds that are popular for that? And most of all, when you arrive at the end of your path on, when you find the soundtrack, when can you be sure that that soundtrack is the right one for that scene? I mean, that way you say, okay, that's the right soundtrack, that's the right sound I need for that scene.
Actually, when you work with music, you always work together with somebody, usually the director, but sometimes on television and on the series, you work a lot with the editor, and you try a lot of different things. And sometimes I feel this is exactly right. And then sometimes I go with the editor and try it on, and then it suddenly doesn't feel right because something else is happening there. So it's always up in there. Even though I think this is exactly it, then maybe we can change it anyway. And maybe sometimes also we can find this music actually works better on that scene. And then of course we have to adapt that to that scene. So there's a lot of things going on when we do that, but I think that you can feel when the music is helping telling the story. It's usually I can feel it, but sometimes also the director wants to tell a story. They are very sad, maybe, but the actors doesn't really play very sad. And then, as a composer, I usually follow the path where the actors are going with and then the director wants it to be more sad than it actually is. So he can ask me can you do something more sad than it is? So sometimes the director can put me in a different direction, which is more right because the important thing is the story at the end.
Musician lives in a balance between, perfection. I have to be perfect. I have to study technique and I have to be perfect on classical music. And then there is the other balance that is all, be yourself, having your original personality as a musician that makes you the real musician in you. And, sometimes also in conservatory, when you study composition, they a bit leave your originality, their personality, because you study always technique. So I wanted to ask you, in the path linked to the cinematic path and music, how much is, in your opinion, to compose a good music? What's the balance between your technique and your feelings and the technique you have?
It's funny because when I was 18 years old, I wanted to go to the conservatory, and I tried to get into the conservatory, and like as a cheat. There was no. I was a jazz player, and there was no jazz conservatory, and then there was something where you could learn to teach and learn music, and so I tried to get in there. And the first year when I was 18, I couldn't get in, and then I should try 19, and then I felt that my talent was so great, so they could not, they would spoil my talent if I went in there. And that's the most crazy thing in my life ever, that I thought that you know. So that, but that's kind of what you're saying also, that you have to be perfect, and then you cannot use your talent. But I mean, if you have a talent, then if you can move your fingers on the piano, that's only a good thing. It's only a good thing to learn. I can say that now. I'm 65 now, but when I was 18, I said the opposite. But I would say now, as an old man, I can say, please learn all the thing you can, and don't think that they will ruin your talent. That's the most crazy thing, but I did it myself, you know. So I didn't go to the conservative, but then the year later, I did it, and then I came in, and I'm happy to do that. But it's always a good idea to learn and learn and learn.
I actually was really curious for the fact that I really love your soundtrack on the contest, because they weren't only classical soundtracks. There were different genre inside. There was definitely not classical, which is, I think I really like, because there are sometimes, you know, some soundtracks in films that prefer being basically classical ones, and we can't find text inside that. So I really wanted to ask you, in your opinion, how much is important a soundtrack that is not only about classical music, but is also linked to a text that speaks for the character? How much there is of expression of the character in the soundtracks?
You always have to express the characters in the soundtrack, and it's different from one movie to another. In one movie, you really want to use a symphony orchestra, and it has the classical sound, and you know, the big Hollywood thing. In some films, that's the right thing to do, and in some other movies, it's not the right thing to do. And I think it would be weird to have a symphony orchestra in the contest. That was like a different thing we needed to use music, but it differs from film to film.
It's really interesting. And how did you feel working with young people, young actors, and you know, you had the responsibility to make their voice loud, this path, this journey of all the contest, this dynamic scenes, yeah, with your soundtracks? How was it?
You know, I don't actually work with them, you know, because they have done their work, and then I come use my work. But actually, I went to Herning when they had the contest. I was there when we recorded that, so I had a lot of talking with the actors and the writer also. Of course, the dubstep, the music, the sound of the music was a bit new to me. So, you know, I listened to that a lot, and my assistant Keld was very good at it. So we listened to it and see how they do things. And then we use this, find out what they do. And we use this kind of music to make the film. And then it's not different from this film to another. It wasn't different. So it's just another sound we use.
Have you ever seen the context in a cinema?
Yes.
Like with other people?
Yeah,
and
we went.
How was being with an audience? Like, how was feeling this, you know, I'm in the audience, I'm watching that film, that I've made that soundtrack. And how was it? How was being in the audience, knowing that you were behind the camera?
Oh.
And actually behind sounds.
But look, I've done this for many, many years, so it's not like the first time I've done that. But I saw the film in the cinema, I think the first time maybe in Berlin, the Berlin Festival, it was there. So we went to see and it was very great. It's also very nice to see, you know, when you've been sitting and working on the scenes so many times, to see how the audience react. That's always nice. So when they laugh, when they don't laugh, and sometimes I made other family movies, but we think they will laugh right there, and then they don't. Comedy movies, then they don't laugh there, but laugh there instead. So that's very interesting. Also, when you're finished with it, sometimes it goes several months before there's the premiere, the opening, and then you come and see that, and it takes some time. So now you can see the movie like in a whole and see it together with an audience. That's wonderful.
Now let's talk a bit of topics of the film, you know. I mean, I really like the contest because it reached different points that in films that talks about music don't reach. And this is, you know, the 100% hope that I can do it. I will do it. And this journey that the two characters follow, I mean, I really like it. Mostly because, you know, the two characters are really dynamic, and I really like it because they really have this hope. Although there are different, you know, situations that are not the domains for, you know, a real dream. So I wanted to ask you, in a world that, you know, we nowadays we are all moving, and we are all moved by, you know, the way of thinking to the future. I have to have a goal in the future, I have to arrive to this goal, and we are really moved by a future that is linked to objectivity and to perfection, and in a society where not all people are represented, not everybody can dream. To ask you how much and how film and music can give to a young child the hope to dream, also in this past.
For me, the film is about the inclusion of the Turkish people in Denmark and the Danish people and all the conflicts. And then you find out that love is the answer, and somehow, you know, respecting each other and giving room for each other. And then they meet, and they're just because they don't know each other. And so this is a lot about inclusion, I think. And of course, music can be a very good way of people to meet and to find out different people, how they are, how can they work together. Music is a great motor for that. Like also in Denmark, with a lot of football, soccer clubs where kids play together, and they're from all kinds of, some Turkish, some Danish, they play together and they have to make this teamwork. So there are a lot of doing these things is very important for the inclusion. But you keep on talking about you have to have goals and you have to be perfect and all that. I don't think you have to be perfect and you have to have goals. Just follow the natural path for your music, and be good at your skills and keep on working. Then something good will happen to you.
And you actually reached already the other point I wanted to touch with you, which is the inclusion. And on this, I really wanted to ask that, you know, we are really, I was saying, you know, and we were saying about progress. We are a society that look always to the future and to the future. But actually, we live in a society where we are not represented. So how can, in your opinion, live the present and at the same way look at the future, but at this as new generation look also to the inclusion? Because we really talk about that, but what can we do for this? Because, you know, there aren't lots of concrete actions there are doing for this. So what's your opinion on that?
I'm not an expert in inclusion, but I can, as I mentioned before, there are some good things like this movie telling the story about a Turkish family and a Danish family and how they are hostile for each other, and then they meet, and then they find out that they have the same love for their children, and they want the best, and then they can meet and talk together. So this is a very important message to send. And also, as I mentioned, soccer sports events also you can do things together, and lots of things, you know, meeting and find out that you have the same love and the same caring about your family. So it's also because you're afraid of each other. You don't know how people will react to things. So I think meeting and talking and being together is the key.
And what powerful key is it?
Yes.
It's really great. What would you say to a young person that, as Sawsan, doesn't have a family that support her in this path, and as the other character, Karl, that actually lives the main part of his life in a small town where there are not a lot of possibilities? So what would you like to say to this young person?
To both of them, I mean, just encourage them and tell them that they're on their path, and sing with them and dance with them and have a good time with them, and look at this. I mean, she's singing and then sing the song with her, and you know, like what he's doing. He's curious to what he's doing, and he has there's no what you call bad feelings about anything. She's just curious and open. Be curious and open, and of course encourage them to keep on working with what they're doing.
That's really, really great, because there are lots of, I think, children and young people that doesn't have high hopes as Sawsan and Karl. So it's really great to see what would you like to say to this person. And so now we are at the last question,
Okay.
and it's always the one that we do to all the all the interviews. And I wanted to ask you, what were you hoping the audience would learn from the film?
Oh, that's obvious, isn't it? I mean, something about inclusion, and something about not being afraid of each other, and show respect, and look at each other and work together, and try to include the different families and the different cultures. And I hope it actually. I think this movie has probably done something. So yeah, I think it worked very well.
Well, you said a very important, a very beautiful word, which is respect. And I really could feel your respect on music today and your passion for that. So I really want to thank you, Frans, for this time to have found the time to join us. And so we are reaching the end of the interview today. So I would like you to thank you, because really you gave me today, you gave us really strong points to talk about. We talked about inclusion, we talked about music, and most of all, you gave us the opportunity to listen to your experience and your thoughts, which I think it's the best thing I've ever. So for the people who are actually watching, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok as the European Film Club. And keep in mind that you can create your own film club and start this amazing, amazing journey in the European Film Club. So it's been a great session, friends. I really want to thank you again for this time, and really I really keep us updated with, of course, all your projects, because now I'm really curious. We are really curious, and have a great rest of the day. Really, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye bye.